Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our English Corner. I'm so happy you're here with us again today because we have a really warm topic. Today, we're going to talk about longevity, which is a long word that simply means living a long life. But it's more than just that, and I think you'll enjoy where this conversation goes. So make yourself comfortable, get a cup of tea, and let's slow down and talk.
Thank you, Alex, and hello to everyone listening. I love this topic because it's something every single one of us cares about, isn't it? We all have people we love, and we all secretly hope they stay with us for a long, long time. And of course, we hope the same for ourselves, too. So, today we're asking a beautiful question. How can we live not just longer, but also better?
That's exactly the heart of it, Mia, because here's an important difference I want everyone to understand from the very start. There is a word called lifespan, which means the total number of years that you live. And then there is another word, healthspan, which means the number of years you live in good health. So lifespan is how long you live, and healthspan is how long you live well. And those two things are not always the same.
Yes, and that difference really matters in real life. Imagine someone who lives to 90 years old, which sounds wonderful at first. But maybe the last 20 years were full of pain, hospitals, and not being able to do the things they loved. Now imagine another person who also lives to 90, but stays active, walks every day, and laughs with friends. Both people had the same lifespan, but very different health spans, and that second life sounds much richer to me.
That's such a clear way to explain it. So when we talk about longevity today, we don't just mean adding more years to your life. We mean adding more life to your years, if that makes sense. There's a simple way to say it that I really love. We want good years, not just more years. And honestly, that small change in thinking changes everything about how we look at our health.
It really does. And here is the most hopeful part of all. A lot of people believe that how long they live is mostly decided by their genes, the things we get from our parents. But research suggests that our daily habits and our environment play a much bigger role than most of us imagine. That means we have more control than we think, which I find incredibly encouraging. The small choices you make today, again and again, can shape the health of your future self.
I love that because it takes away the feeling of helplessness. We're not just waiting to see what happens to us, we can actually take part in the story. And nobody is saying you need to become perfect overnight, so please don't worry about that. Today, we're just going to share simple ideas that research links to a longer, healthier life. And one quick but important note before we go further, Mia.
Yes, please say it, because it matters. Everything we talk about today is general healthy living, the kind of thing supported by research. We are not doctors, and this is not medical advice for any one person. So if you have a real health worry or you take medicine, please talk to your doctor first. Think of us as two friends sharing hopeful ideas, not as people giving you a treatment plan.
Perfectly said. So with that warm and honest start, let's begin our journey. And our first stop is one of the most fascinating things I've ever read about. There are certain places in the world where living to 100 is almost normal. Mia, please tell everyone about these amazing places.
Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this because it's truly amazing. Some years ago, researchers noticed something strange and beautiful around the world. There were a few small regions where people were living much longer than average, and many reached 100 years old. A researcher named Dan Buettner studied these places carefully, and he gave them a special name. He called them blue zones, and the name has stayed with us ever since.
Blue zones. What a lovely name. And a quick word for our listeners. A blue zone is simply an area where unusually many people live very long and healthy lives. And there's another useful word here too. A person who reaches 100 years old is called a centenarian. In most of the world, centenarians are rare, but in the blue zones, they are surprisingly common.
Exactly. And let me tell you where these blue zones are, because they're spread all over the planet. The first is Okinawa, a group of islands in Japan, famous for its long-living women. The second is Sardinia, a beautiful island in Italy with many old shepherds in the hills. The third is Ikaria, a quiet Greek island where people seem to forget to die, as the joke goes. And the fourth is Nicoya, a sunny peninsula in Costa Rica with strong, happy older people.
That's four, but I think there's a fifth one, and it's a bit of a surprise. The fifth blue zone is actually in the United States, in a town called Loma Linda in California. There, A particular community lives a calm, careful, faith-based life. And research showed that some people in Loma Linda lived several years longer than other Americans around them. So this isn't only about faraway islands. It can happen anywhere, even close to a big modern city.
That's such an important point, Alex. These places are very different from each other, with different languages, foods, and weather. But Dan Buettner found that they shared a set of common habits, and he gave these habits a name too. He called them the Power Nine, which means 9 shared ways of living that seem to help people thrive. We'll talk about many of these 9 habits throughout the whole episode, so keep them in your mind.
And here's the part that genuinely surprised me when I first learned it. In these blue zones, nobody's actually trying to live to 100. They're not counting steps. They're not buying special pills, and they're not following strict diet plans. Instead, their long life is a kind of side effect, a natural result of how they live every single day. The healthy choice is simply the easy, normal choice in their world.
Yes, and I think that's the deepest lesson of all. Their environment makes the healthy path the natural path, almost without thinking. They walk because their village is built for walking, not because a doctor told them to exercise. They eat simple food because that's what's on the table, not because they're on a diet. And one more thing they all share is a strong sense of community, of belonging to other people.
That word, community, is going to come back again and again today. It means a group of people who know each other, help each other, and share life together. In the blue zones, older people are not pushed away or forgotten. They stay right in the middle of family life, and that connection, as we'll see later, might be one of the most powerful ingredients of all. But first, let's go to the kitchen, because food is a huge part of this story.
Oh, yes, let's talk about what's on their plates. Because if you look at what Blue Zone people eat, you find something both simple and surprising. It's not fancy, it's not expensive, and you can find most of it at any normal market. In fact, the most powerful longevity food in the world might already be in your kitchen. Let's find out what it is.
All right, Mia, I'm hungry now, so tell us the secret. What do people in the blue zones actually eat every day?
Well, the first big idea is that they eat mostly plants. Their meals are built around vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, and especially beans. In fact, in many of these long-living groups, the food is around 95% plant-based. That means almost everything on the plate comes from the ground, not from an animal. They do eat meat sometimes, but often just a little. Maybe a few times a month. More like a special treat.
Let me jump in for a second to explain that phrase for our listeners. When we say plant-based, we mean food that comes mostly from plants, rather than from meat or animal products. It doesn't have to mean 100%. It just means plants are the main star of the meal. And Mia, you mentioned beans, which I know is a really big one in this topic. Tell us why beans get so much love from the longevity researchers.
Beans are honestly the superstar of this whole story. Dan Buettner often says that beans are the #1 longevity food in the world. We're talking about all kinds of beans and lentils, which together we call legumes. In the blue zones, people eat about half a cup of beans every single day, which is not a lot. And beans are cheap, filling, and full of good things like fiber and protein, so they're easy to love.
I find that so encouraging because beans are available almost everywhere and they cost very little. You don't need a special expensive superfood from the other side of the world. You just need a humble pot of beans, which your grandmother probably already knew how to make. And I want to say something important here about how we should think about food. This is not about banning things or feeling guilty, right, Mia?
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said that because guilt is not the goal here. The idea is not to make a long list of foods you can never eat again. Instead, think about it the other way around. Just add more good things to your plate. Add a few more beans, a few more vegetables, a little more fruit, and let them slowly fill you up. When the good things grow, the less helpful things naturally shrink without any stress or strict rules.
That's such a kind and realistic way to look at it. And there's another habit from Okinawa that I find really wise and gentle. The people there have a little saying before they eat, which is hara hachibu. It's an old idea that reminds them to stop eating when they're about 80% full. So instead of eating until they're completely stuffed, they stop a little bit earlier.
I love harahachibu because it's so simple and so human. Our stomach actually needs a little time to tell our brain that we've had enough. So if you stop at around 80% full and wait a few minutes, you often feel just right. It's not about being hungry or punishing yourself, it's about eating calmly and listening to your body. You can try it tonight, slowly, with no pressure, and just notice how you feel.
That's a beautiful little practice to take home. There's one more thing worth mentioning about Blue Zone food, and it's about what they don't eat much of. They eat very little processed food, which means food made in factories with lots of added sugar, salt, and chemicals. Think of things like sugary drinks, packaged snacks, and ready-made meals in colorful plastic. In the blue zones, most food is fresh, simple, and close to how it grows in nature.
And again, we say this in moderation, which means we don't have to be perfect. A piece of cake at a birthday is part of a happy life, and nobody should feel bad about that. The phrase in moderation just means enjoying things in a balanced, sensible amount. Not every day, not in huge piles. So eat mostly plants, add your beans, stop at 80%, and keep treats as treats. It's gentle, it's doable, and honestly, it sounds quite delicious to me.
It really does. But food is only one part of the picture, and our bodies were made to move. So let's get up out of our chairs, at least in our minds, and talk about movement. And here's some good news for anyone who hates the gym. You might not need one at all. So, Mia, when people hear the word exercise, many of them feel a little tired already. They imagine a crowded gym, heavy weights, and running until they can't breathe. But that's not really the picture in the blue zones, is it?
Not at all. And this is honestly my favorite part to share. The people in these long living places almost never go to a gym, and many have never set foot in one. Instead, they do something researchers call moving naturally, which means staying gently active all day long. They walk to visit a friend, they work in the garden, they cook, they clean, and they climb the stairs. Their movement is woven into normal daily life, so they barely even notice they're exercising.
Let me explain that phrase a little for everyone. To move naturally means your body stays active through everyday activities, not through a special workout. So it could be walking to the market, carrying your shopping, sweeping the floor, or playing with your grandchildren. None of these feel like exercise, but together they keep the body strong and busy. And honestly, that sounds so much more pleasant than forcing yourself onto a treadmill.
It really is. And I think it removes a lot of fear around being active. You don't have to become an athlete. You just have to stop sitting still for so long. And that brings us to a word that's very important in modern health: sedentary. Being sedentary means sitting too much and moving too little, often for many hours every day. Sadly, many of us now sit at desks, in cars, and on sofas for most of our waking hours.
That's a real concern, and researchers talk about it a lot these days. Sitting for many hours without a break is linked to a higher risk of several health problems over time. Some people even say that sitting all day is one of the quiet challenges of modern life. But please don't panic if you have a desk job, because there's good news coming. The solution is not complicated, and it's something everyone can start doing today.
Exactly. The fix is wonderfully simple. One easy idea is to break up sitting, which means standing up and moving a little every 30 to 60 minutes. You don't need to do anything dramatic. Just stand up, stretch, walk to get some water, or look out the window. Even a couple of minutes of movement helps wake up your body and get your blood flowing again. So set a gentle reminder, and every half hour or so, just get up and move a little.
I do that myself, and it really does feel good to stand and stretch. And then there's walking, which might be the most underrated activity in the whole world. Walking is free, it's gentle, it's safe for most people, and you can do it almost anywhere. Research suggests that people who walk more tend to have a lower risk of many health problems. You don't need a perfect number. But the idea of getting more daily steps is a wonderful goal.
Yes, and I love that you said you don't need a perfect number. Many people have heard about 10,000 daily steps, and that's a nice target if you can reach it. But even adding a short walk after dinner or walking instead of driving for small trips makes a real difference. The point is simply to move more than you did yesterday, little by little. Daily steps are like small deposits in your health bank, and they slowly add up to something big.
That's a lovely way to picture it. So let's gather these gentle ideas together for our listeners. Move naturally through your normal day, walk whenever you can, and don't sit for hours without a break. You don't need special clothes, a membership, or any money at all. You just need to keep your body friendly with movement, the way it was always meant to be.
Beautifully said, Alex. And after a day full of gentle movement, our body needs something just as important. It needs rest, real rest, the kind that repairs us from the inside. And this is something so many busy people get wrong. So let's talk about sleep.
Sleep is a topic I think we should talk about more often, Mia, because in our busy world, a lot of people treat sleep like it's a waste of time. They feel proud of sleeping only 4 or 5 hours, as if being tired means they work harder. But that idea is really the wrong way around, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And I wish more people understood this. Sleep is not lazy time. Sleep is repair time for your whole body and mind. While you sleep, your body fixes tiny damage, your brain organizes memories, and your energy is restored. So sleep isn't the opposite of being productive. It's actually the foundation that makes everything else possible. When you sleep well, you think better, you feel better, and you make healthier choices the next day.
That's such an important shift in how we see it. So, how much sleep do we actually need to get these wonderful repairs done? I know the answer is different for every person, but is there a general guide?
There is, and the general guide is fairly simple to remember. For most adults, research suggests that about 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night is best. Some people feel great with a little less, and some need a little more, and that's perfectly normal. But if you're sleeping only 4 or 5 hours most nights, your body probably isn't getting enough repair time. The goal is to get enough sleep regularly, so you wake up feeling rested rather than dragging yourself out of bed.
And here's something that surprised me when I first learned it. It's not only about the total number of hours, it's also about being regular. Tell everyone about that, Mia, because I think it's a game changer for a lot of people.
Yes, this is honestly one of the most useful things I've ever learned about sleep. Your sleep schedule, which means the times you go to bed and wake up, matters a great deal. Research suggests that having a regular schedule may matter even more than the total hours you sleep. So, going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time every day, even on weekends, is a powerful habit. Your body has an inner clock, and it loves a steady routine, just like a child loves a bedtime story at the same hour.
I find that so freeing, because keeping a regular time feels easier than chasing a perfect number of hours. And good sleep does much more than just make us feel awake, doesn't it?
Oh, it does so much more. Good regular sleep is linked to a healthier heart and a sharper, more protected brain. When we don't sleep enough over a long time, it can affect our mood, our memory, and our overall health. So when you protect your sleep, you're really protecting two of your most precious organs, your heart and your mind. That's a wonderful reason to treat bedtime with a little more respect and kindness.
It truly is. So let's give our listeners a few gentle tips to actually sleep better tonight. One word I love here is the idea of winding down, which means slowing yourself down before bed. Instead of jumping straight from a bright phone screen into bed, give yourself 30 quiet minutes to relax. You might dim the lights, read a few pages, or take a warm shower and let your body know it's time to rest.
Yes, winding down is like gently landing a plane instead of crashing it. Try to keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and a little cool, because those things help your body drift off. And if you can, put the phone away a bit earlier, since those bright screens can trick your brain into staying awake. Do this most nights, and slowly you'll start to feel truly well rested, which is a beautiful feeling. Being well rested means waking up with energy, a clear mind, and a smile, ready for the day.
That sounds wonderful and so achievable. So we've talked about food, movement, and sleep, which all care for the body. But there's another part of us that needs just as much care: our mind, our feelings, and our reason for getting up in the morning. Let's talk about that next.
This chapter is very close to my heart, Alex, because we can eat well, move well, and sleep well, but if our mind is full of stress, something is still missing. In the blue zones, people seem to carry less stress, even though their lives are not always easy. They face hard times like everyone does, but they have gentle ways to handle the weight of life. And one of their biggest secrets is something that gives their whole life direction.
I think I know what you're going to say, and it's one of my favorite ideas in the world. In Okinawa, the Japanese have a beautiful word for this, don't they?
They do, and the word is ikigai. Ikigai roughly means your reason to wake up in the morning, the thing that gives your day meaning. It might be caring for your grandchildren, tending your garden, teaching, painting, or helping your neighbors. It doesn't have to be big or famous, it just has to matter to you and pull you gently out of bed. The people in these communities can usually tell you, very clearly, why their life has purpose.
Let me underline that phrase for everyone, because it's so important. A sense of purpose means feeling that your life has meaning and that what you do matters. It's that warm feeling that someone needs you or that you have something worthwhile to do today. And this isn't just a nice feeling. It actually seems to affect our health. Mia, I believe there's even research on this, isn't there?
Yes, and the research is genuinely moving. In a large study in Japan, scientists followed many people over many years. They found that people who reported a strong sense of purpose tended to have a lower risk of dying early. Of course, no single thing is magic, and many factors are involved, so we hold this gently. But it really does suggest that having a reason to wake up is good not only for the heart's feelings, but for the body too.
That's such a hopeful thought, and it's available to everyone at any age. You're never too old, and it's never too late to find or rediscover your purpose. And alongside purpose, the blue zones also have lovely ways to slow down and manage stress, because stress itself isn't the enemy. We all feel it, and a little of it is normal. The real question is what we do with it day after day.
Exactly. And they have a wonderful habit for this called downshifting. To downshift means to slow down on purpose every single day to release the pressure that builds up inside. In Okinawa, people take a quiet moment to remember their ancestors, while in Ikaria, they enjoy long, slow afternoons. In Sardinia, they pause for a relaxed chat with friends. And in Loma Linda, many people rest and pray. The exact ritual is different, but the idea is the same. Build small moments of calm into your normal day.
I love that it's daily, not something you save for one long holiday a year. So for our listeners, downshifting could be very simple and personal. It might be a short nap in the afternoon, a few minutes of quiet prayer, or a slow cup of tea with no phone. It could be a gentle walk in nature, some deep breathing, or simply sitting in silence for a little while. The goal is to let your nervous system rest, so the stress of the day doesn't pile up year after year.
Yes, and learning to manage stress in healthy ways is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. To manage stress means to find calm, helpful ways to deal with life's pressures instead of letting them crush you. And I want to add one gentle reminder here, because we always want to be honest. If you ever feel that sadness or worry is very heavy and won't lift, please reach out and talk to a doctor. There is no shame in that at all. Taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body.
Thank you for saying that, Mia. It's so important. So let's hold these ideas close. Find your reason to wake up and slow down a little every day. A calm mind and a meaningful life are not luxuries. They're a real part of living long and well. And this leads us perfectly into our final chapter, which might be the most powerful of all. Because the people we love are not just nice to have, they may be one of the great keys to a long life.
Oh, Alex, I've been looking forward to this chapter the whole episode. Because in a way, it ties back to our last conversation about relationships, which so many of you enjoyed. And here's the amazing thing. The research shows again and again. Strong social connection, which simply means close, warm relationships with other people, is linked to living longer. In fact, some researchers say it may be about as powerful for your health as not smoking.
That comparison always stops me in my tracks. We all know that not smoking is wonderful for the body, that's no surprise at all. But to think that our friendships and family bonds might be just as powerful, that's remarkable. It tells us that loneliness is not only a sad feeling, it can actually affect our physical health. So staying connected to others isn't a small extra. It's right at the center of a long, healthy life.
Yes, and let's gently explain that other side too. Loneliness means feeling alone and disconnected, as if no one is really close to you. And research suggests that long-term loneliness can raise the risk of several health problems over time. On the other side, there is belonging, which means feeling that you're part of a group that cares about you. The wonderful news is that belonging is something we can build step by step with the people around us.
And the Blue Zones show us such a beautiful example of this belonging. In Okinawa, they have something called a moai, which is just lovely. A moai is a small group of friends who stay together for their whole lives, sometimes from childhood. They meet regularly, they share their joys and their troubles, and they support each other through everything. So when life gets hard, no one in a moai ever has to face it completely alone.
Imagine having that, a circle of friends who walk beside you for 80 or 90 years. They celebrate your good days, they sit with you on your hard days, and they never let you drift away. And in these communities, there's another beautiful thing about how they treat their older members. Older people are not separated or forgotten. They stay included, right in the heart of family and village life. They're respected, they're needed, and they're surrounded by people, which keeps their spirit and their health strong.
That's the kind of world I think we'd all love to live in. And here's the gentle challenge for all of us listening today. We can't move to Okinawa tomorrow, but we can build our own little moai right where we are. We can reach out to people, which means making the first move to connect, even with a simple message or call. A short phone call to an old friend or a visit to a lonely neighbor can mean so much more than we realize.
Yes, please, reach out to someone this week. Alex is so right. Call the friend you keep meaning to call or sit a little longer at the table with your family tonight. These small acts of connection are not just kind, they are quietly building a longer, healthier life for everyone involved. And that brings us, gently, to the end of our journey today. So let me try to gather everything together into one simple, warm picture.
Please do, Mia. I'd love that.
Here is the beautiful truth of everything we learned today. You don't need a magic pill, an expensive program, or some secret that only a few people know. You just need to move a little all day, eat mostly plants, and sleep well and regularly. You need to slow down sometimes, keep a reason to wake up, and stay close to the people you love. None of these are hard. None of these are expensive. And all of them are within your reach starting today.
That's such a warm and hopeful place to end, and it leaves me smiling. Longevity isn't really about chasing years. It's about filling your days with good food, gentle movement, rest, purpose, and love. And remember, dear listeners, everything we shared is general healthy living supported by research, not a treatment plan. So if you have a real health concern, always talk to your doctor first, because you matter. Thank you so much for spending this time with us in our English Corner.
Thank you truly from both of us for listening so warmly. We hope you walk away today feeling calm, hopeful, and a little more in control of your own health. Take one small step this week, just one, and be kind to yourself along the way. Keep practicing your English, keep caring for your body, and keep close to the people who love you. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.